Welcome to Dory Cote on Shamanism, a weekly podcast that explores one theme in shamanism throughout each month. Get comfortable, have a seat, and let's get started.
Hi, and welcome to my podcast, which this time is on the topic of planting seeds. I invite you to sit and listen, and feel free to write me with any questions you might have.
So Dory, what is the shamanic perspective on planting seeds for things, especially for things we want to create and attract into our lives?
I love the whole concept of planting seeds. As a matter of fact, I was just working with a group of students about a week ago, and we did an exercise in which we journeyed to ask, what is it that I want to dream into my life? What dream do I want to seed in my soul and heart? And then we actually took some physical flower seeds and we placed them into an Indian seed pot that I have, a Native American seed pot. And we mixed them all up. So everybody took a pinch of seeds and placed them in the pot. So then we shook them all up. And then at the end of the class, I emptied the seeds into another bowl and had everybody take a pinch of those seeds, put them in a little envelope, and take them home and plant them. Now, they didn't have their own seeds anymore. They had a mixture of everybody's seeds. So the whole concept was that others are participating in seeding and planting your seeds, your dreams. The whole idea of planting seeds is all about, really, in the end, it's about creating what it is, or visualizing, and then planting the seeds of creation. What is it you want to create in your life going forward? Is it beauty? Is it a new job? Is it a peaceful summer? Is it whatever it is? And you can do that in a whole variety of ways. Obviously, working with actual physical seeds or plants is very powerful because you're engaging all of the fullness of Mother Earth and all of the creatures and the worms and the soil and everything in the process of participating in supporting what it is you're seeding, what it is you're choosing to create for yourself. So if you are not able to do that, and of course here in the northeastern part of the United States, we truly can't do that outdoors year-round. We can do it indoors. We can have little seed pots, or we can plant amaryllis bulbs or other bulbs to grow and infuse them with the power of what it is we are choosing to create in our lives. And, this is a tradition that goes way back thousands of years. There's nothing, new about this concept of how we create in our lives. And the metaphor of seeding or planting seeds. If we study our indigenous ancestors, we see that they often blessed the seeds before they planted them in the ground, or they would mutter a word or two into the seeds and then plant them, because they chose to plant everything with intention. And so when we do that, if we plant our seeds, whatever those are, the seed of desire, the seed of intention, the seed of the future, or the seed of letting go of grief, or whatever it might be. So even though, I guess what I'm trying to say is that even though when we plant seeds, we have a tendency to think, oh, we want to grow something. And of course, most of the time that is what we're doing. But it's also possible to ask a seed to release a pain or a block or something that you're holding. and ask Mother Earth to take that seed and grow it. And as it grows, it is releasing into the sun, into the earth, into the air, whatever pain or grief or sorrow you might be carrying, or a block if you have a block of some kind that you want to let go of. So working with that concept of planting is a really, pardon the pun, but ripe idea of a way to work with metaphors in physical reality to either create or release or let go. And then you have the advantage of the visual, or of actually seeing what you have planted growing and manifesting into what it is you have chosen to grow.
What I love about both of the examples you gave of the class and then of planting by yourself, you're talking about how you don't plant alone, how what you plant is affected by others and impacts others, whether others is Mother Earth or others are those in your tribe.
Right. That is so true. And that was the lesson I was getting across to my students, is that, you know, you don't ever plant your seeds by yourself. Spirit is engaged in helping you grow those seeds all the time. And in this case, you know, your tribe is helping you to grow that dream, to grow the seeds of, you know, in this case, we were working with the concept of what seeds do you, or what dream do you want to manifest going forward? And the seeds were planted to manifest the dream. And so everybody in the tribe is participating in helping to grow that dream. And it also puts a responsibility on everybody to participate, because you don't want to disappoint one of your tribe members by forgetting to plant your seeds. So, you know, sometimes if we're left to our own devices, we forget to do things for ourselves. But when we have a responsibility to our tribe to support others, it gets us more engaged in the process of making sure that we do that.
Just even passing someone's beautiful garden that you don't know,
Mm.
when you're driving by,
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple houses that impact me because they plant with love.
Yes. Yes, and there is a huge difference in planting with love as opposed to just throwing some seeds in the ground, being intentional about what you're doing. And like I said, you know, our native ancestors would bless the seeds. They would do ceremony with the seeds before they planted them and infuse them with great intention for abundance or whatever it is they chose to manifest. And then there's also, you know, I mentioned the seed pot. And so what the Native American people did, and I'm not sure about other cultures, I would have to study this, so I'm not certain, but in Native American history, our Native ancestors had these pots specifically to store their seeds through the period of time when they weren't planting. So they took the best seeds from their plants and stored them in these pots, which are typically round and have a small hole in them, so that you can put the seeds in, and you can't see them. They're surrounded by the bowl. And it's a beautiful custom and makes a lot of sense. You know, save your best seeds for the future.
And the time when you're not planting is a time of choosing.
Yes.
And dreaming your garden.
Exactly. Dreaming it into the future.
So
yeah.
You've talked about a couple ceremonies and rituals for planting seeds. Are there others to consider, and is there a specific moon time?
Well, typically we would look at the new moon as a time to plant seeds, because the new moon typically is a time of new beginnings. It's a time for setting intentions for the new moon cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So for the purpose of setting intentions and participating in creating something that you choose to have in your life, then I would say choose the new moon. Of course, here in the northeastern part of the United States, we generally look to planting crops and even flowers and, bushes and things like that at the time of the full moon, because that is a time when the earth is its most juicy or its ripest self. Because our spring is so short and our summer is so short that, I know the tradition here in the state of Maine, where I live, has always been plant your seeds under the full moon in the month of May.
Mm.
And then you're pretty sure of not having frost damage or other things of that nature. And it's a ripe time for the seeds to take root.
Especially if you're planting the way you previously talked about, of releasing pain. That would be
Yes,
a powerful time for the full moon.
it would. And it would be a great time also to do ceremony, and I didn't mention this earlier, but if you plant seeds in the new moon or the full moon, or any time you plant seeds, doing ceremony, rattling and drumming and singing to the stars, the cosmos, the moon, and all the planets, and also Mother Earth and all of her beings, to bless these seeds and nurture them as they're rooting and growing, is a fabulous thing to do. So not, going to your heart and invoking the presence of the love that you have, and also the intention, and engaging all beings in helping to support this teeny little seed that might ultimately grow into a huge plant. And having the support of not just Mother Earth, but all of the cosmos and all of the living beings on the earth to support this little seed makes a huge difference.
And this is also true for like tiny little plants that you get at the
Yes,
store, too.
absolutely. Any seedlings or flowers that have already been started. And the other thing that we haven't talked about here is vegetables. I buy my vegetables from an organic farm nearby. And the reason I choose that particular farm is because the farmers are very spiritual people. So not only do they follow the insights and the traditions of planting in this part of the country, but they also infuse every plant, every seed with phenomenal love and intention. And it comes through in the quality of the food. I feel so good when I eat that food because I know every cell of every plant is feeding every cell within my body and merging with it. And that means so much. And that is lost in today's agribusiness. It's a business. It's like throw the seeds in the ground, till the soil, throw the seeds in, weed, harvest, package, ship, and something's lost in that. And it's not the same as it was when most families had their own backyard garden and everybody in the family participated in planting the seeds and gathering the lettuce and the tomatoes and the squashes and the pumpkins and everything else. And there was a lot of love and celebration and community involved in it. And that is really, I believe, so at the core of who we are as humans, and so important for not just the physical nutrition, but the emotional and spiritual nutrition that we get from the food.
You can even see it at farmers markets.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you're not growing your own, you can
go to a farmer's market. You can walk around in a farmer's market, and if you tune in, you can feel where the love is.
To share this with a friend, we bought zucchini from 2 different places with very different energy and cooked them the same.
Wow.
And it was astonishing.
Really?
Yeah.
I believe that wholeheartedly, that you can tell the difference when you eat it, how you feel when you eat it, what it tastes like, what it feels like, the energy of it when you put it in your mouth. It is, to me, it's absolutely profound. I have a really hard time buying vegetables in the grocery store during the winter time. My farmers store a lot of things, mostly root vegetables, but they're not able, because it is by the time we get to February, they're not able to grow lettuce and spinach and leafy greens and kale and things like that. I tend to not buy them in the grocery store because they seem really sad to me. I just feel sadness when I look at them, and I don't want to put sadness in my body, so I don't buy those plants in the wintertime.
Mm. After seeds are planted, how best to spiritually water them so that we don't dig them up to see if they're growing? How to balance faith, unattachment and release, and energizing the creation?
Yeah, that's a really great question. The idea of kind of digging them up a little bit to see if the roots are growing is something that we as humans have a tendency to do. We are so engaged in things happening fast that we want to check all the time. Is it gonna pop? Is it growing roots? Is anything happening? And that's the opposite of what is helpful, actually. What we want to do is plant the seeds, water them with love and attention, and talk to them. Plants love to be talked to. Many, many people on the spiritual path have done experiments with plants in their homes that they talk to and plants that they don't talk to. And the difference in the quality and the growth of those plants is measurable. I mean, it's not just maybe, it's a measurable difference. And so the same is true with seeds that you plant anywhere, outdoors, whether it's vegetables or flowers or shrubs or whatever. If you speak to them and say, hi, how you doing today? I'm here. Do you need a little water? I'm sending you love. Maybe you sing to them or do some toning or put your hands over them, put a little crystal beside them to help them grow. Anything like that is nurturing the life of this plant, which is the same way you would with an infant child. You don't put the baby in the bassinet and then walk away and come back 2 years later and see that it's 2 years old. The child is not going to thrive. In fact, will not survive unless it's tended to. The same is true with plants. We must love them. We must nurture them. We must guide them. Sometimes we have to help them grow. Sometimes we maybe do have to dig them up and move them so they get a little more sun or the right kind of sun. We obviously have to water them if there isn't enough water coming out of the sky. And all of those things are part of adding to the quality of what will grow. And again, when you water the plants, you want to do it with intention. Here's some water, my little lovies. This water that comes from deep from the earth that is coming out here to help you grow. And, maybe you add a little bit of fertilizer, some nitrogen or whatever your soil needs to help nurture the plant, feed it. It needs more sometimes than just the earth itself. Sometimes it needs some particular nutrients. So all of that, but done with intention, not using just your scientific mind, but using your heart and your soul to connect with every individual plant.
So if you planted a plant with the intention of helping to grow your business, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
or to grow joy in your family, or to grow your health.
Mm-hmm.
As you do this watering and nurturing of the physical plant, you're also metaphorically doing the same for what it is a helping spirit for.
Exactly. You're watering your intention.
Mm-hmm.
You're helping your intention to grow. You're paying attention to your intention. You're loving your intention. You're talking to your intention. You are helping it grow.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great metaphor to work with, and it is a very powerful spiritual tool.
Mm. What is the difference between praying for an outcome, to go back to increasing joy in the family or health, versus planting seeds to have that manifest in one's life?
Yes. Well, prayer, of course, is a very powerful tool, and one that actually most human beings do at some point or other in their lives. Even people who are complete agnostics or complete atheists, sooner or later, something will get them to their knees, and they will pray. They'll ask for help, which is really what prayer is about. Ask for help with some unknown force. So prayer is a very, very powerful tool. The difference is that planting seeds is working with a metaphor that is physical, that helps us to relate to the outcome a little bit more directly. Sometimes we pray and we don't have a connection to the outcome of the prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly if you're praying for somebody else, you might pray for somebody who you know is in the hospital and is undergoing surgery, and you don't have a direct connection with that person on a regular basis, and so you don't even know whether your prayer was helpful or not. And that's probably a good thing, because we have a tendency to get into our egos, like, oh, I prayed for this person and wow, a miracle happened. So it's best to not always know exactly what the outcome is. But with planting seeds, what is beautiful is that you get to see the blossom or the lusciousness of what you have seeded. And seeing that metaphor with your eyes, smelling it with your nose, experiencing it with all of your senses, helps to embody the experience, so that it isn't so much of the mind, or so much of like the esoteric aspect of prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I love working with planting. Not that I don't pray, because I pray every day for a bazillion things, but planting seeds is a very powerful and power-filled way to pray, create intention, and watch something grow.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you'd like to say on this topic?
I would just like to add that, in most areas of North America, this is a great time to be planting. And so, I encourage the people to go out and plant with intention, plant with your heart, plant with an intention, fill it with love, talk to the plants, water the plants, remember your intention, and watch your intention grow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Dory Cote on shamanism. We'd love to hear your thoughts, stories, reactions, and questions. Come on over to dorycote.com and join the conversation. And tune in next week for more on this subject, or next month for a new subject. You can subscribe to this podcast in iTunes, or sign up on dorycote.com to receive notices when the podcasts are posted. That's Dory, D-O-R-Y, and Cote, C-O-T-E.com. Drumming and rattling by Dory Cote and Terry Morgan. Technical assistance and audio production by JillHackett.com. And this is Susan Savelle, wishing you many blessings in your life. We hope to have you join us next time.